In a small remote village nestled deep within the woods, the full moon was more than just a beautiful celestial event. It was a time of dread. For centuries, the villagers had passed down stories of the ghost of the full moon, a restless spirit that appeared only when the moon was at its highest and brightest in the sky. Long ago, there was a man named Kazuki who lived in the village. He was known for his charm and quiet nature, but also for his strange connection to the moon. On every full moon, he would wander the village in a trance, drawn to the glowing light above. One fateful night, he vanished without a trace, never to be seen again. Some said he was taken by the spirits of the forest. Others claimed he drowned in the village's lake. But soon after, the hauntings began. Every full moon, a chilling fog would roll into the village, and with it, Kazuki's ghost. His pale, spectral form would glide through the streets, his once handsome face now twisted in eternal sorrow. His presence brought with it whispers of the past, ghostly wails, and a bone-chilling cold that sent the villagers hiding behind locked doors. The curse was simple. Anyone caught outside when the moon reached its peak would vanish, just as he had, and those who disappeared were never seen again. One full moon night, a group of curious teenagers, Sarah, Mark, and Jacob, decided to investigate the legend. They didn't believe the old stories. To them, it was just another ghost tale to keep children in line. Armed with flashlights and bravado, they ventured into the village square just as the full moon began to rise. The night seemed ordinary at first. They laughed and joked, mocking the idea of a ghost, but as the moon climbed higher, the air grew heavy and a thick fog began to swirl around them. Sarah's laughter died in her throat as the temperature plummeted, her breath now visible in the cold. "Maybe we should head back," Jacob suggested nervously, his voice barely above a whisper. Just as they turned to leave, a soft melodic hum echoed through the fog. The sound was hypnotic, drawing them toward the village's lake. There, standing on the shore, they saw him, Kazuki. His ghostly figure floated above the water, his eyes locked on the full moon. His face, once kind, was now a mask of sorrow and rage. Before they could move, Kazuki turned toward them, his eyes glowing with an unnatural light. A gust of wind slammed into them, knocking them to the ground. The fog thickened and the hum grew louder, more sinister. Mark screamed, trying to run, but the fog wrapped around him like cold fingers, dragging him toward the water. Sarah and Jacob watched in horror as he was pulled under, his screams fading into silence. Desperate, they ran toward the village, but the fog followed, thickening with each step. Kazuki's ghostly figure appeared before them, blocking their path, his mouth twisted into a wicked smile. "You shouldn't have come," he whispered, his voice like the wind through dead leaves. In a flash, Jacob was lifted off the ground, his body contorting unnaturally before being thrown into the woods. Sarah, now alone, fell to her knees, pleading for her life. But Kazuki's curse was unrelenting. The moon reached its peak and the ghost's eyes blazed brighter. Sarah felt her body grow cold, her vision fading as the fog enveloped her completely. When the villagers awoke the next morning, the fog had lifted and the village was eerily quiet. No sign of the teenagers could be found, only 3 sets of footprints leading to the lake. The full moon had claimed more victims. And so, the legend of the ghost of the full moon continued, each generation adding to its terror. No one dared step outside on a full moon night again, for they knew that Kazuki still wandered the village, waiting to drag others into his eternal night. The curse would never be broken as long as the full moon hung in the sky.